Welcome students to another day in the Foods Lab. This lab is an extra fun one. We are going to be making some crepes. Crepes have their history in the French cuisine. It's a French word, and basically what crepes are really super thin pancakes. You can make crepes very sweet and dessert-like. You can make them a part of the main course. Crepe is all about what are you putting in the middle and then wrapping this very thin pancake around the outside of it. Previous to the demonstration, I've done a few things. I have washed my hands for 20 seconds. I have assembled all of my ingredients, and I've assembled all of my equipment, and I'm kind of laughing because it's pretty squishy right here to get it all in the video camera. I have also read over the recipe. It makes complete sense to me, so I think I'm ready to begin. I'll go ahead and place this to the side and we shall start. The first thing our instructions tell us is that we're going to use a small bowl, and in this small bowl we're going to combine all of our dry ingredients. The first dry ingredient that goes in, of course, because we're talking about grain groups, is flour, and flour is a ground down grain, the one that we grind down here, especially in the United States, as we like wheat. So I'm going to measure 3/4 cup. One bad thing is that I don't have a 3/4 cup measuring cup. So how the heck am I going to turn around and measure 3/4 cup? Couple of options. First off, you can measure 1/4 3 times, or you can measure 1/4 plus 1/2, which is what I'm going to do, because 1/2 is 2 of the 4ths. So I'm going to stir that flour around because we know that it likes to pack down over time. Fluff it back up. Go ahead and karate chop that off with a straight edge of the metal spatula, and we are good. The second ingredient that we're adding in here is just a little touch of sugar. We're doing more like a dessert crepe. It will be very sweet and delicious, and I'm looking for my 1 teaspoon, which I'll go ahead and level it off. That's my 1 teaspoon. Then I'm going to go with my 1/2 teaspoon, level that off. After I've got my 1.5 teaspoons of salt, I'll remove that right out of our way. I'm going to measure in the baking powder, and you need to make sure that you've got baking powder, not baking soda. If you get the wrong one, it simply won't work. So I'll use the straight edge that's right here, which is pretty cool. That straight edge, and we can use that to level off our amounts. Boy, it looks like I need a new one pretty soon. Level that off right there in the can. 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. That's our leavening agent. Gonna make it just a little tiny bit. The last dry ingredient that we're adding in is salt. And the salt, of course, is going to help bring out a little bit of flavor. Not a ton, just a little bit. I'm going to measure it over the top of a dirty bowl. And again, I'm looking for 1/4 teaspoon. So I'm going to take my 1/4 teaspoon measuring spoon. I'm going to fill that up just a little bit over the top, and then using that straight edge of the metal spatula, karate chop it off. All right, done with the salt and done with my dry ingredients. The next thing that it says I'm going to use is my blender. Now this is a little bit unusual to do it, but we're going to use the pitcher part of the blender to really help us not make a mess. You'll see that later on. And inside of this blender, I'm going to put in my milk, and the amount of milk that I'm putting in is 1 cup. Your head chefs will have come up previously, and they will have measured 1 cup for you in the liquid measuring cup. We use the liquid measuring cup. Flat surface, I'm squunched down at eye level. You probably can't see that. To get exactly my 1 cup, I'll pour that into my blender. Then I'm going to add my 1 egg that's sitting right up here, just waiting for a party. And I'd suggest maybe you crack it on the side of a bowl, not on the pitcher, just in case you get some shells. Oh, that wouldn't be good, would it, to have some shells? And then you can crack this egg, open up, let it just pop right on in there. The next thing that you're going to be adding in is just a little tiny bit of vanilla. My vanilla's right here. Vanilla's kind of nasty tasting by itself, so you already know this. You don't want to take and measure it over right here. I'd much rather take and wipe up my countertop than mess up my crepes. I'm gonna get that as full. Oh, can you see I made a mess? That's why I didn't want to do it over the pitcher, and I'm moving so slowly I'm kind of shaking because I don't want to spill a drip, but oh, does that smell yummy and delicious. Then my lid to my blender's right here. Pop that on, and my instructions say that we're just gonna mix it real quick. You know a little bit about your blender already. Let's just refresh. If the light does not turn on, mine's on, you know there's a power switch on the back side. You can just go ahead and flip that on. Then I'm going to use, in this case, the up and down arrows. Can you see those arrows right here, up and down? I'm just going to pop this onto my blender, and I'm going to push my up arrow. Oh, for about that long. It doesn't take long to mix that all up. You can see, oh yeah, that's all nice and smooth. All right, then my instructions tell me I'm going to put these ingredients into this one. So I have found if you're not careful, you get a face full of flour. So using my flexible spatula or a spoon, I'm going to simply take and put this flour carefully in there so I don't get a face full of flour. Put your bowl down for a half a stitch. Put that lid back on, and then we're just gonna blend it, not very long at all, okay? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks good to me. Then we'll pull off that lid just in case there's some sort of clump of flour that went up on the side, and I'm just gonna scrape down the side of this, much like we would do if we were doing it in a bowl, and then give it one more little quick zip. And when I say quick, that's all we need. We don't want to end up mixing this too much. If we do, we can start affecting the texture of the crepe, interestingly enough. All right, so now we're to the exciting part. I'm going to remove my blender. Do you remember how to take care of that blender? You remember you get a wet washcloth, and you're going to wipe this all down, front and back. I want to have my plug out, wipe that down, front and back. Make sure that you put your cord back together, Velcro it, and then put it away. I'm going to place that to the side. It's kind of big and in my way. All right, so next thing up, it says that everyone's going to do their own crepe. Now there's a couple of things with cooking in a frying pan. First off, you don't want to take and have this sitting forever on your burner getting super, super hot, because it will just continue to get hotter and hotter and hotter, and then you're going to be in trouble. However, you do want this pan to be hot when you go to start cooking. If you don't have it hot, then you're going to end up with your crepe or whatever you're cooking wanting to stick to the pan, and that is no fun to try to clean up. And of course, your crepe being so thin, you can go ahead and tear it all to pieces. Now, I do need to let you know that oftentimes the first crepe does end up being a little funky. So if you are the first person cooking the crepe in your kitchen, just beware. There's enough batter in your pitcher, in your blender, to bake a second one. Has to do with the even heating of the pan. So you've seen me kind of playing back and forth, putting this on and off, and maybe you noticed that my heat was on. I'm on a medium temperature, and I want that pan to be hot before I start cooking. How do you know if your pan's hot enough? No, not by touching. But I can run my hand across the top right here, and I can feel that there is heat emanating from this. This is hot air, hotter than up here. Second thing I have is I like to do a little water test. I'm just going to take this is just plain water I got in this little bowl. I'm going to take a little water, and I'm going to pop it in here, and if it sizzles, which you saw maybe, there you go, that's a nice sizzle. It's nice and hot. In fact, I'm a little worried it might be too hot. All right, and now you are going to pick up from the front, the head chefs will pick up a little pat of butter. This butter has to last for all of your crepes. So you want butter enough to cover the bottom, but just a little bit. So I'm going to take about 1/4 of that butter, and I'm going to pop it in there, and I'm going to, with my pancake turner, I'm going to spread this all around the bottom of my pan. That's going to add some flavor, it's going to add some color, and it's really what's super cool. I just turned off my heat. What's really super cool is that it's going to make that first side be super beautiful. So hang on while I get myself back into action. Okay, so that's all nice, hot, and sizzling. Now I'm gonna take my 1/4 cup dry measuring cup. Now I know this is a liquid and I know this is for dries. We're just using this size to help benefit us. And your instructions say you're gonna take one of these and you're gonna fill it mostly full. All right, that's mostly full. I can move around a little bit. Then I'm gonna come over here to my pan and I'm gonna pick it up, and while I'm pouring this in, I'm gonna start going around in a circle. Now these frying pans are just the perfect size for this. Can you see how I've got this running? And I don't want it to be thickened or anything. I'm gonna go ahead and just roll that around until the batter no longer wants to run. Now when it first goes in, maybe you can see this. I don't know how it's looking from your end. Sometimes that is like, or when you first put it in, it's like all wet looking and shiny and shiny. And as it bakes, as it cooks, the shine starts to disappear. So you don't have to even play with it at all until all of the wet, all of the shininess has disappeared. And it will turn what's called matte, and basically M-A-T-T-E, that just means not shiny. All right, so when I take a look at my crepe, I'm seeing right now that it's pretty much non-shiny. Let me pull that up so you can take a little bit of a closer look. This is my very, very wettest looking spot, and I can even touch it and I can feel that it's all solid. And I've also noticed that around the outsides of my edges, I don't know if you can see this, they're very, very thin. They're starting to turn a little bit brown. So I'm gonna come in here with my pancake turner upside down. I don't know if I can do this while I'm up in the air. I'm just gonna take a peek. And if it is a lovely golden color, kind of the caramel color of our cupboards, I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. This is hard for me to do. I'm gonna just cheat a little bit. Because it's so thin, I can fake my way right here. And it's a lovely golden color. Can you see that golden lacy color? That's what I'm looking for. That's what I need. So I'll use my pancake turner and I'm going to flip this over. Oops, that wasn't very gentle. Flip this over. I'm gonna cheat just a little bit, and I've got my pancake turner upside down, and I'm gently gonna take that and just flip that upside down. And that, my dear friends, is what your crepes should look like. Can you see that color? Does it look the color of our cupboards? If it does, you're looking good. Just a second on this other side's all you need. And then you're taking this, and with the pretty side, that first side down, I'm gonna put it on top of my plate. And while that's happening, I could go ahead and cook a second crepe. Let's do it just for practice. Little bit of butter, put it in my pan. Scooch that all the way around my pan so it's all covering that. Just beautiful and perfect in every way. It's going to stop things from sticking. It's going to add to flavor and color. Filling this about a quarter of the way full. Go ahead then and pick up your pan, put it in here and start rolling it around. And you're going to roll this around, roll it around, roll it, keep it rolling, roll, roll, roll until there's no more stuff running. All right, and then that's going to keep it all very, very thin. Put it on your burner and wait for the wet to disappear. Let's see how fast I am at putting this crepe together. Now our instructions are telling us we're making a dessert crepe, or did I already say that? You're gonna take and put a little bit of Cool Whip down the center, not a whole lot, right down the center, kind of in hot dog fashion, like such. Then you're gonna take a little bit of strawberries, and fresh strawberries really are best, but I couldn't find a good deal on them, and so I decided to go with the frozen ones. These have a little bit of strawberry syrup in them. You're gonna flop this to one side, flop this to another side, and then you know we've got an old trick that we use with our stuffed French toast. Take a little bit of powdered sugar and dust that over the top. And if I had a dollop of whipped cream and a fresh strawberry to put on the top, that, my dear friends, is a lovely strawberry whipped cream crepe. a grain product. Let's come back to this real quick. Let's just see how we're doing. I'm looking again. If you can spot, it's kind of browning along this outside edge. I got no more wet going in here. I'm gonna put this down on this one I learned from my last one. I'm gonna take a peek. Oh, can you see? I'll go ahead and let's see if I can get that back now. Flip that over gently, and I'm just gonna cook it for a matter of 10, 15 seconds, just till it sits up, and then I'll pull it out, put it through the whole cycle again, and then I'm gonna sit down in a quiet corner here at school, and I'm gonna eat all of them. Well, my friends, crepes, a lovely grain food, a member of the grain group because the flour that's in it is made from wheat. Enjoy. See ya.